Tonight, crisis in the Middle East. Growing questions about America's role in the standoff between Israel and Iran. President Trump is demanding an unconditional surrender from Iran, calling its supreme leader an easy target, saying we have total control over Iran's skies. Mary Bruce is at the White House and our Ian Panel is in Tel Aviv. Russia unleashes one of its deadliest attacks on Kyiv since the war began more than 3 years ago. Ukraine says one American is among more than a dozen people killed. A whopping 16 tornadoes reported across 3 states, 100 million people under severe weather watch. This as the death toll climbs from those floods in West Virginia. And now severe weather is heading for the East Coast. Ginger Z tracks it all. A food giant is vowing to remove all artificial dyes from its products in the next 2 years, making it one of the first U.S. companies to do so. Will some of America's favorites taste the same? And who will follow suit? And in tonight's Prime Focus,
just like proving to them that I could do it. Like y'all said I couldn't, and I can.
A military program aimed at getting potential recruits to their fighting weight. In a move the Army hopes will help future soldiers be all they can be.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is Prime with Linsey Davis.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Linsey Davis. Thanks so much for streaming with us. We begin with the fast developing situation in the Middle East. Israel, Iran trading blows as Trump and his national security team are huddling about next steps. Today, the president called for Iran's unconditional surrender. This comes as he met with his national security team in the Situation Room. Members of his team seen leaving the White House. Last night, Trump abruptly left the G7 summit in Canada so he could, according to the White House, quote, attend to many important matters. Moments after that, he posted to Truth Social a warning to the 10 million people of Iran's capital. Everyone should immediately evacuate Tehran. That post created panic there. You can see traffic backed up for miles. And tonight, the two sides continue to trade attacks. Israel released video of what they say is their pilots tracking mobile missile launchers through the streets of Iran, taking them out. Iran's Revolutionary Guard put out video they say shows missiles being lobbed toward Israel. Tonight, there's concern about what happens now. Will the U.S. get more involved? Will that involvement be helping on a diplomatic solution or helping Israel militarily? Our team is standing by tonight to break it all down for you. We begin with Mary Bruce, who reports live from the White House. Hi, Mary.
Hi, Linsey. Well, it has certainly been a tense day here at the White House, awaiting updates as the president met with his national security team and weighed his options. Tonight, as Israeli missiles find their targets in Iran, President Trump with this demand to the Iranian regime, unconditional surrender. Adding this threat, we know exactly where the so-called supreme leader is hiding. He is an easy target, but is safe there. We are not going to take him out, kill, at least not for now, saying our patience is wearing thin. Trump has been urging Iran to negotiate a nuclear deal, but now...
They should have done the deal. I told them, do the deal. So I don't know, I'm not too much in a mood to negotiate now.
Iran has not responded to the president's threats, but their rockets continue to fall on Israel. Our Ian Panel in Tel Aviv.
We just heard the first sound there of an intercept, so we're going to have to disappear. But this is another round of Iranian strikes on Israel.
The Iranian army's commander saying the operations carried out so far have merely been warnings for deterrence, and a punitive operation will be executed soon. Israel releasing this video claiming to show Israeli fighter jets tracking Iranian mobile missile launchers through the streets of Tehran before blowing them up. In Tehran, terrified residents racing to escape. Traffic gridlocked and long gas lines after Trump posted this warning, saying everyone should immediately evacuate Tehran, with no further explanation. The president today meeting with his national security team in the Situation Room as Israel ups the pressure on the U.S. to intervene militarily to destroy Iran's nuclear program. Only the U.S. has the 30,000-pound bunker buster bomb capable of reaching Iran's deeply buried nuclear site. Trump now weighing his options, saying he's looking for something, quote, better than a ceasefire.
What specifically is better than a ceasefire? What are you looking for here?
An end. A real end, not a ceasefire. An end.
So something that would be permanent.
Or giving up entirely.
Is that okay too?
But tonight, what's unclear, what comes next, and what role the U.S. will play.
Mary back with us now. Mary, of course, Israel has continued to target Iran. Iran has retaliated. And the big question tonight, if and when the U.S. will play a direct role in this conflict, what do you know?
Well, Lindsay, I've just learned that President Trump spoke with Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu earlier today. As we know, the U.S. military is already moving warplanes and other assets to the region if needed to defend American personnel. And that big question now weighing on the president. Will he push for negotiations or join Israel's campaign and bomb Iran? Lindsay.
All right, Mary Bruce from the White House, thanks so much. Let's go right to Tel Aviv, where we find our Ian Panel, who's been in and out of bomb shelters all day as Iran and Israel have traded those missile attacks. Ian, what can you tell us?
Yeah, Lindsay, we just had another Iranian missile barrage come towards us here in Tel Aviv. We had to take shelter along with everyone else here and across Israel. The sirens were blaring. It's not clear at the moment if any of them came through. It certainly looked as though many of those missiles were intercepted. And as the US appears to get closer to becoming part of this conflict, and President Trump escalates his war of words with Iran, no sign that Tehran is backing down, as we've just seen. More strikes were launched today at Israel, one salvo bypassing Israeli air defenses, geolocated by ABC to the area where Israel's military intelligence and Mossad headquarters are based. But so far, today's Iran's attacks do appear to have been smaller, but the night is still young here. Israel, though, continuing to launch strikes, claiming it killed a top Iranian general and that it now controls the skies over Iran. President Trump's warning to residents in Tehran to evacuate the city immediately, sparking this mass exodus, with roads out of the capital bumper to bumper and long lines at gas stations. Israel's made no secret of its desire to have the US join the fight and help neutralize Iran's nuclear capabilities. After 5 days of back and forth strikes, there are real fears tonight that this crisis is only growing. Lindsay?
We learned late this afternoon the Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem was taken to a Washington, D.C. hospital by ambulance. Let's bring in Pierre Thomas, who's in Washington now. Pierre, what do we know?
Well, she was transported by ambulance to the hospital earlier today. I just got this statement from her spokesperson, Tricia McLaughlin, and it reads, Secretary Noem had an allergic reaction today. She was transported to the hospital out of an abundance of caution. She's alert and recovering. By all accounts, the secretary appears to be stable, but we're trying to get more information about what the allergic reaction was to and the severity. The good news, Lindsay, is she appears to be okay and is talking to her staff.
Good indeed. Pierre Thomas in Washington, thanks so much. We have new reporting tonight on the suspect who showed up at the doors of Democratic Minnesota state politicians and shot them. Authorities are gaining a better understanding of how the alleged gunman, Vance Bolter, a husband and father, disguised and protected himself. We'll hear from Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison in a moment. But first, here's Faith Abube.
This is surveillance image of the man who police say wore a realistic latex mask and is responsible for the politically motivated assassination of former State House Speaker Melissa Hortman and her husband Mark and their beloved family dog Gilbert. The suspect also shooting State Senator John Hoffman and his wife Yvette. They're recovering from gunshot wounds. Authorities say 57-year-old Vance Bolter had a hit list of at least 45 state and federal elected officials, most or all Democrats, and allegedly stalked and surveilled those on the list like prey. Tonight, members of Congress receiving a security briefing, pushing for improved protection and for the divisive political rhetoric on all sides to be toned down. Democrats and Republicans saying it's too much. A bipartisan group of lawmakers calling out Utah Senator Mike Lee over his social media post from Sunday, appearing to mock the assassination, posting an image of the suspect in that latex mask before police say he killed Melissa Hortman and her husband. Senator Mike Lee writing, "This is what happens when Marxists don't get their way," and saying nightmare on Wall Street, a reference to the state's governor, Tim Walz.
Do you stand by the post that you made on X?
Senator Lee has since deleted the post. Senator Tina Smith of Minnesota confronting Lee about the images he posted of the suspect.
I wanted him to know about the consequence of his words. And I went to him and I said, you know, your message on social media showed the image of the man who killed my friend, potentially minutes before that happened.
And tonight, the community not only remembering the Hortmans, but also what they did for service dogs. Their dog Gilbert, a 4-year-old golden retriever, was shot by the suspect. The family, longtime volunteers of the nonprofit Helping Paws, helping train service dogs for years, adopting Gilbert from the program during the pandemic.
Their bond was deeper than most pet owners.
The Hortmans are survived by 2 children who say their parents left behind an incredible legacy of dedication to this community. And Linsey, that community will honor them with a vigil right here at the state capitol tomorrow night. Linsey.
Hey, thank you. We're joined now by the Attorney General of Minnesota, Keith Ellison. Sir, we thank you so much for your time and our condolences to you. We know that you were friends with the former House Speaker, Melissa Hortman, and her husband, Mark, who were both assassinated. Just give us a sense of how long your friendship goes back and about Speaker Hortman's personality, the person you knew.
Melissa and I go back before either one of us was in politics. She was a lawyer at Legal Aid Society, where she did a lot of civil enforcement of a housing code. She was a person who was principled. She believed in her values. You know, we had a 67 legislature in Minnesota, and Melissa was able to work with Speaker Demuth in a very constructive way, and they were able to deliver that budget because of her excellent diplomacy and her open heart. She was really funny. She had a great smile. And she was a great listener, and she was a fierce friend. So I'm really going to miss her. Her husband was a wonderful guy. And if you don't mind, I'd like to just say that John Hoffman, Senator Hoffman, who thank goodness has survived, he is a wonderful legislator as well. He is a fierce defender of people with mental health issues. He has fought for people to get into mental health facilities when they are severely and acutely mentally ill, and has fought for more bed space and expanded those services, and is well known for being a great advocate for the community who is dealing with things like schizophrenia and serious psychological challenges. So he's a wonderful legislator too. So all of this hits us very hard in Minnesota, but we're drawing our inspiration from their courage, and we're marching on.
As our reporter Faith Abube mentioned, authorities know the suspect had a hit list containing the names of at least 45 state and federally elected officials, most or all of them Democrats. How did you find out that you were on that list?
Good morning. I got a call from a source who said, be careful. Don't answer the door unless there are at least 2 officers. Demand to see some badges and be safe in your home. And in that same call, I was told that Melissa Hortman was killed, and my jaw hit the floor. I was told that Senator Hoffman and his wife were hanging on, and I was told to be safe. So that's how I learned, and because I got a call because of what they had learned from finding these notes in his car. So, but quite honestly, I know that the normal reaction would be to be fearful, but I'm not. You know, I'm not. I know that he's trying to inject fear, and so I won't tolerate it. We won't tolerate it, and I encourage people who believe in liberty and justice for all, and in an inclusive America, and if you believe in due process and you believe that we should have a multiracial democracy, if you believe in all those things, you can't let this kind of guy intimidate you. He's trying to stop our movement with this heinous act, but we're going to march on. We're going to keep moving, building a stronger, better country, reaching out in love and in unity and standing up for our core American values.
As you know, President Trump has said that he will not call Minnesota Governor Tim Walz about the shootings, adding that it would be a waste of his time. Your response to that?
He fundamentally doesn't understand what it means to be the president of the United States. He would be calling the governor to say, on behalf of the people of the United States, on behalf of me and my family, let me give my condolences to you and for the people of the state of Minnesota. That is, he doesn't seem to get that there is how he feels as an individual and what his responsibility and role is as the president of the United States. He doesn't get it. He's never gotten it. And that's tragic. And but I will say that I got a call from Pam Bondi, the U.S. Attorney General. I want to thank her for her kind gesture. I want to say that there are a lot of decent Republicans who have reached out and conveyed their condolences. So he doesn't represent everybody, but it is outrageous that, the president of the United States, arguably the most powerful person in the world, sets such a bad tone and a bad example for all of us. But of course, this is nothing new. We all know he's like this, and unfortunately, we have to deal with it.
Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison, we thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate you joining us. At least 15 people were killed, including a U.S. citizen, in Russia's worst attack on the Ukrainian capital of Kyiv today. Residential buildings throughout the city were hurt. Russia launching more than 30 missiles and 400 drones. Here's our chief international correspondent, James Longman.
Ukraine is counting the cost tonight of one of the worst Russian aerial attacks on Kyiv since the war began, and the deadliest in nearly a year. All night, Russia unleashed wave after wave of drones and missiles on the Ukrainian capital, around 500 in all, pummeling 30 areas of the city. This is the moment a Russian drone smashed into an apartment building. This building collapsed by a ballistic missile. More than 100 injured and at least 15 killed across Kyiv, including an American citizen. Anguish amid the search for survivors, a mother and father breaking down after learning their son was found dead in the rubble. Russia has significantly stepped up its attacks on Ukrainian cities in recent days, making them even more indiscriminate.
Linsey, President Zelensky says that these attacks have been timed to make Western leaders at the G7 seem impotent. Zelensky was meant to meet with Trump there in Canada, but since the president came home early, that was cancelled. Linsey?
James, thank you. Tonight, more than 100 million people are on alert for severe storms as a powerful system moves east. There have been 16 reported tornadoes across 3 states in the past 24 hours, and the severe weather is now setting its sights on the East Coast. ABC meteorologist Ginger Z has a look at the damage so far and what's ahead.
Tonight, powerful storms threatening millions after a tornado outbreak across the plains. 100-mile-per-hour straight-line winds slamming parts of Kansas this morning. Last night, gigantic textbook tornadoes tearing across miles of fields and farms. At least 19 reported across Nebraska, Colorado, and Minnesota. Thankfully, no injuries and minimal damage, but it shows what this system can do as it pushes east. Meanwhile, in West Virginia, where a month's worth of rain fell in just 30 minutes this weekend, homes and vehicles washed away. Officials announcing a 7th death.
This flood I've never seen in devastation is like we have.
David Patterson is the chief of Triadelphia's volunteer fire department.
We have had more structures disappear, gone. People's houses are missing. Mobile homes, people were in them.
5 of the 7 people killed lived in this town, including 19-year-old Travis Creighton. His sister, Shelby, telling ABC he was so funny, full of life, and had a very big heart.
Never like to hear that. Ginger joins us now. Ginger, we're seeing so much loss and destruction already. Where's this powerful storm system heading next?
Yes, well, the one that did that over the weekend, super saturated parts of the mid-Atlantic and Appalachia, and that's why West Virginia tonight, including parts of State College, Pennsylvania, southwestern Pennsylvania, down through Harrisonburg, Roanoke, all included in the flood watch. That's until late tonight. You could see locally up to 5 inches. If you get even an inch or 2 inch falling fast, the creeks and rivers are at their peak, so we're going to watch that carefully. Let's turn to the next storm, though, the one that produced those tornadoes. We've had the severe thunderstorm watch in parts of Colorado, the high plains of Wyoming. But look what happens with that tornado watch already in place. 4 reported tornadoes so far in parts of Kansas and Oklahoma, back into Texas. That's where the watch is. You could also see some flash flooding in there. But that line is going to bust through. Wichita's had a very busy day. And tonight, they're in a level 4 out of 5. Destructive winds. We're talking after the sun sets could come through 70, 80-mile-per-hour winds and get to the Missouri state line closer to 1 a.m. Central Time. It doesn't stop there. We open it up again tomorrow. This is a level 3 out of 5, Indianapolis, Paducah, back to St. Louis and close to Detroit and Toledo. And then on Thursday, Lindsay, we get that same front to power through here, New York City included, Washington, D.C., and up into parts of New England. So And I do want to mention that we have a huge pattern shift, because I know that you and many others have asked me, like, is it ever going to stop raining? Will we ever see summer? Wait until next week. We're talking about a serious heat wave.
Go from one extreme to the next. All right, Ginger Z, our thanks to you. New York City Comptroller and Democratic mayoral candidate Brad Lander was arrested outside an immigration hearing today at a Manhattan courthouse.
And I see the warrant. I will let go when you show me the judicial warrant. Where is it? Where is the warrant?
In a statement, his campaign team said that he was escorting a defendant out of court. This comes days after Democratic U.S. Senator Alex Padilla of California was forcibly removed from a DHS presser. Lander himself has since been released and is not facing any charges. The jury in the murder trial of Karen Reed, the Boston area woman accused in the death of her police officer boyfriend, deliberated for a third day today, and they had several questions for the judge. Here's Matt Gutman with what they wanted to know and what it might reveal.
On the third day of deliberations in the murder retrial of Karen Reed, accused of ramming her SUV into her Boston police officer boyfriend, the jury's signaling their confusion about jury instructions, leaving many searching for clues in the questions they're asking.
We received a question from the jurors. If we find not guilty on 2 charges but can't agree on 1 charge, is it a hung jury on all 3 charges or just 1 charge?
Reed is facing 3 charges: second-degree murder, vehicular manslaughter while under the influence of alcohol, and leaving the scene of an accident causing death. The judge trying to answer their question.
We don't answer theoretical questions. I tell the jurors that they're not to be concerned with the consequences of their verdict, and that's exactly what they're doing here.
The case against Reed has gripped the nation and divided the Boston area, and launched a legion of supporters. Hundreds of them right there, dressed in pink, outside the courtroom. Earlier, the jury asking about the charge of operating under the influence and whether the video clips of Reed's television interviews, including with ABC's 2020, can be used as evidence.
When you walked out of the bar, how many drinks had you had?
I had probably about 4. And not 4 that I completed either. I didn't drink maybe more than a few sips at the waterfall.
And 4 drinks you felt fine to drive?
Yep.
And she has maintained that all along. Matt joins us now. Matt, of course, we remember that Reed's first trial ended in a deadlocked jury. What was the reaction in the courtroom today to all these questions from the jurors?
Well, there was a little bit of concern, Linsey, because that initial question from the jury to the judge, the one that she couldn't answer about the split decision, that was eerily similar to the issue that the first jury in that first trial grappled with for so long. As we know, they ended up deadlocked, and then there was a mistrial. So there's concern that that could happen again. The jury is back at it tomorrow. Linsey.
All right, Matt Gutman for us. Thanks so much, Matt. Disgraced R&B singer R. Kelly was taken to a hospital today after allegedly suffering an overdose at a North Carolina prison where he's currently housed. Other sources, however, told ABC News that Kelly was taken to the hospital for routine medical care. Kelly's lawyers allege that he was recently denied surgery by prison officers and his care was mismanaged by the U.S. Bureau of Prisons. Kelly is serving a 30-year sentence after being convicted in 2021 for having sex with underage girls. In the Sean Diddy Combs trial today, jurors heard from a federal investigator on the case and watched long excerpts of the explicit videos allegedly used to blackmail women. ABC News contributor and former prosecutor Bernardo Villalona joins us once again with a look at today's proceedings. You were in the courtroom today. The jurors were shown those videos of the so-called freak-offs or hotel nights. Can you describe what you saw and, more importantly, perhaps, the jury's reaction?
So, Linsey, I'm in the main courtroom. So in the main courtroom, you get to see the jury because the jury's inside of the main courtroom. And when I tell you, you can hear a pin drop, you can hear a pin drop. To the point, there was a fly that was flying around in the courtroom, and we could hear it buzzing, that fly. Because what's being done is that while these jurors are watching the videos, they are watching the videos with headphones on. Us in the gallery are not allowed to watch or hear the video. But for a certain few seconds, though, we were hearing the video because it seems that one of the attorneys, while she had her headphones on, she was close to the mic. So you can make out some of the sounds, unfortunately, until one of the courtroom deputies actually let the judge know, like, we can hear it here in the audience. So then the judge had the attorney move away from the microphone. But in terms of the jurors' faces, we saw one older juror who actually kind of like put her hand on her face and almost like clutching
Like
her
aghast.
pearls,
Okay.
like of what she was actually watching. You saw other jurors that were very intent and they were leaning in. You saw others leaning back and they were like, well, what are we actually watching? And also because it wasn't just one video, it was multiple videos that they were watching and at different lengths of time as well.
And then you had the prosecution had a summary witness today, a federal investigator on the case. What did his testimony offer?
Oh my God, this summary witness, it felt like she was on the witness stand forever. She's actually a special agent that works within the U.S. Attorney's Office. She didn't do any of the investigation in this case. That was quite clear. She was pretty much put on to check on the accuracy of this summary chart that was put together for the jury. And in terms of her testimony, she was testifying as to different text messages, as to time, date, who sent it, what was actually said, looking at flight records, looking at hotel invoices. So trying to put the main pieces together of what the prosecution is seeking to put before this jury, having to deal with the racketeering conspiracy, the enterprise, and how a lot of these charges were being paid. At one point, Sean Combs was paying for it with his credit card. However, it was the business that was paying off the credit card. Then came the defense. The defense spent hours bringing out text messages and messages that worked in their favor, where Cassie is saying that she enjoyed these freak-offs, that she was looking forward to these freak-offs, that she was actually planning these freak-offs and looking at dates in her calendar to make it actually happen. So the defense was focusing that it was more of a consensual sexual encounter that Cassie was having with these male escorts and with Sean Combs, and it wasn't something that was against her will, that it wasn't coerced, that she was engaging in these freak-offs.
And we know that there's another potential jury issue.
Yes.
We will get back to that tomorrow. More to come. Stay tuned. Bernardo Villalona, we thank you so much, as always. Food Network host Anne Burrell has passed away. The Iron Chef was known for her trademark spiky blonde hair and was host of fan favorite show Worst Cooks in America. In a statement, her family said her warmth, spirit, and boundless love remain eternal. She was just 55 years old. Coming up, our Matt Gutman visits a unique Army boot camp helping overweight Americans become all they can be. That's in our prime focus.
And now you have somebody inspecting your plate.
Exactly.
At every meal.
And I'm not used to that. But I do enjoy it because honestly, I was kind of overdoing it.
Plus, why the NAACP is breaking with more than 100 years of tradition, and the scary moments as strong winds and high seas break a cruise ship away from its dock, and what happened next. Stay with us. Welcome back, everyone. As the Army marks its 250th anniversary, just who is able to become a soldier is changing. For decades, recruiting has been a challenge, and the Army has substantially reduced recruitment goals by tens of thousands. In recent years, the Army has struggled to hit its new benchmarks. One reason may be that 3/4 of Americans are overweight and cannot enlist right away. Enter an ambitious new program designed to help people who don't meet the Army's strict fitness requirements. In tonight's Prime Focus, our chief national correspondent, Matt Gutman, got exclusive access inside the program to turn recruits into soldiers.
It's a first-of-a-kind initiative to beef up U.S. Army recruiting numbers by slimming down potential recruits.
Arms down. 43.
This one with the culmination of weeks or even months of hard work for these recruits. In Yuma, Arizona, Christopher Pelroy is getting ready to ship out.
You should be good to go this weekend.
All right, thank you, sir. I'm super excited. It's one job that you'll always be needed. It will never be replaced by anything else.
He's been working out for months in his hometown, pumping iron at a CrossFit gym.
I lost 1%. So once I get to the program, I'm sure they'll be able to assist me with getting it down super fast.
That program is officially known as the Future Soldiers Preparatory Course, affectionately called the Army's Fat Camp.
It's doing something the Army needs it to do. We want each of these trainings to be successful. Like, ultimately, that is our goal. And so we want to give them every opportunity to do that. They still have to meet the standard.
And all of these future soldiers arrive for different reasons.
I want to be a part of something that's bigger than me. My dad was prior service, served in the Marine Corps, so that also made me want to be like, okay, I want to do that. I want to be a part of something that not a lot of people can say that they have done.
Raven Fletcher, born and raised in Texas, is trying to rise from her family's endemic poverty.
I struggled a lot. Life is tough. It was pretty rough growing up. Financial struggles. I've had people in my life with addictions. I've dealt with domestic violence growing up. Homelessness. It's been a lot. At home, I have 4 kids. I love it. I'm a mom. I work 40 hours a week.
And Samantha Brown has been dreaming of enlisting since she watched the nightmare of 9/11 unfold from her middle school playground.
I remember that day like it was yesterday. I remember watching it from school, the planes going overhead, the smoke filling New York.
Physically watching it, not on TV.
Yes, physically watching it. So it was a lot for us.
And it won't be long. Mishka Francis is doing it for U.S. citizenship and something maybe less tangible, pride.
Just like proving to them that I can do it. Like y'all said I couldn't, and I can.
They all may have different reasons for enlisting, but everybody here has the same challenge. Like nearly 3/4 of Americans, they are overweight.
40.
We arrive on a Tuesday just after 6 a.m. Forget reveille. The most intense part of the week at the Future Soldiers preparatory course is those Tuesday tapings.
Hurry up, let's go. Next.
The recruits line up in the hall. First, they're weighed. There's Christopher, like the rest, looking nervous and uncomfortable. Then they are taped. The drill sergeants reach around their waist to get a body fat measurement. Their measurements are registered and then calculated. It's not pleasant, but for these trainees, it's a big moment. It measures their performance so far in the program, tracking weight and inches shed. The Army's threshold for men is 26% body fat. For women, it's 36%. Later that day, the drill sergeants will call out the names of those who can ship out to basic. That honor is called taping out. For many here, though, taping out can be a weeks-long slog. The Army gives them 3 months to get it done.
I have lost weight. I came here at about 217 pounds, and I'm actually 200 pounds right now.
Many trainees arrive on a bus like this under a barrage of taunts.
Go! Hurry up, trainees, let's go. They're putting away! You're moving too slow!
Eyes bulging with fear and maybe some regret. It's the hardest moment for most trainees.
When we got here, a drill sergeant went right up on that bus, said, "Get out here right now," and they made us run.
And I was just like, yes, drill sergeant, but it was hard. That was a hard day.
At 38% body fat, Raven hasn't been able to tape out yet, but she won't let that get her down.
I'm hoping it sheds off. I've been putting the work in, but to lose 19 pounds, it was extremely hard.
I mean, did you even ever imagine that you could do that?
No. These last 2 kids, I picked up a lot of weight. I was stressed out. You know, once you gain 10 and then 20, it's extremely hard looking back, you know, and I had them back to back, and the weight just accumulated, and it was just horrible. And then, you know, I would try to run and exercise in between, but it wasn't falling off.
It's summer in South Carolina, and the heat and the humidity are the cruelest drill sergeants. Before they know it, it's time for lunch.
Everything these trainees do is regimented, including what they eat in the dining facility. No snacks, no sodas, just that food inside.
Each plate is inspected by a drill sergeant.
How many fruits and vegetables do we want per meal? 2 to 3. There you go. Let's start back there and get some.
Even eating is taken seriously here. All meals in silence.
So I have learned a lot about nutrition. I will say I've never had so much cottage cheese within the span of a week.
So everybody putting what's the cottage cheese thing?
So because with the defect, we kind of have to work with what we have.
And now you have somebody inspecting your plate.
Exactly.
At every meal.
And I'm not used to that. But I do enjoy it because honestly, I was kind of overdoing it. I eat a lot of spaghetti. I eat a lot of carbs. I eat a lot of things I shouldn't do.
When people see this program and they hear about it, they say, "Oh, why don't you just put these trainees on GLP-1s, on Ozempic or Mounjaro or something, if weight is the issue?
We're sort of going back to the traditional way the Army has always done something like, and I think there's the 3 variables that we know are going to help their overall lifestyle, because the goal is really like a bit of a lifestyle change. Physical activity, good nutrition.
Come on. After lunch, it's off to the second workout of the day. Kettlebells are heaved and yanked, then push-ups. Trainees leaving puddles of sweat in their position. And on this day, it's particularly grueling, over 90 degrees and humid, heat category 5, heat stroke weather. The agony is etched on their faces, but so is their newfound grit. There's something I want you to see. Inside the gym here, this huge whiteboard is called the Y board, and that's because within a day or two of arriving, every single one of the trainees here is asked to write on a card why they chose to come, and these are incredibly telling and very moving. Somebody writes, I came here to be a better me and to break generational poverty. Someone else writes, for my son. And perhaps tellingly, somebody else writes, because they said I can't. Years ago, Samantha had this tattoo made, stitching her commitment to serve right into her skin.
My job is field artillery. I'm going to be field infantry, 13 Bravo, basically standing off bombs.
But Samantha is one of the long haulers here, unable to shed the last few pesky pounds to meet military standards. There are very few trainees here who haven't at least thought of quitting. Even Christopher, who initially thought he might tape out today, that didn't happen.
When you sign up for the ARMS program, you come here knowing that you could be here for the full 90 days. It's something that everyone needs to accept, because regardless if you think that you're going to lose the weight fast, you never know what's going to happen. And every day it's just a new hurdle that you need to conquer and make sure you finish through.
By this point in the day, they're gutted, tanks empty as they run. Many are beset by injuries. Mishka has been working to come back from a stress fracture in her foot. But often on these runs, something happens. A rallying cry and a rush to support lagging teammates.
I go up to my bed and I cry, and then my battle buddies are there.
You actually cried?
Yeah, because it's an emotional roller coaster, especially, you're pushing yourself and you just really want to, advance to the next step.
The Army is out with encouraging new numbers about the success of this program. Recruitment overall is ahead of schedule, and they point to innovative programs like Future Soldiers. And just a couple of days ago, Christopher, he taped out after a month in the program. Samantha, she is still working on it. But for those who do, it's a moment that tastes better than any food.
I called to tell y'all that I taped out and I'm going to basic training. What's next is to go pack my bags because I'm out of here. But I'm super excited for the next steps.
You are here in basic combat training.
Since our team was there, Raven also taped out and is on to basic training.
I'm trying to do this for them. I want to make my mom proud, my family. I got a lot of people counting on me back at home.
Potentially life-changing for so many. Our thanks to Matt Gutman for that. Coming up, the major food company on board with RFK's Make America Healthy Again plan. The big announcement made by Heinz today. What's behind the rising gas prices and the massive Amazon sale when you can nab some big deals. Welcome back, everyone. A new poll released today found that President Trump's budget and policy bill, deemed the One Big Beautiful Bill, is opposed by almost twice as many Americans as those who support it. Here's a look at the breakdown by the numbers. 42% of Americans told the Washington Post Ipsos poll that they oppose the bill, while 23% said that they support the measure, and more than a third say they have no opinion. The bill has much higher approval among Republicans. 49% said that they support the bill, but 38% of Republicans said they were undecided, and the majority of the public, 66%, said they had heard little or nothing at all about the bill. Among those who were aware of it, 72% said that they support an increase for child tax credits, making that the bill's most popular item. The least popular idea, with 66% opposing it, was a reduction in federal funding for food assistance to low-income households. Senate Republicans say they're hoping to pass the bill by July 4th. Coming up, we're talking with American Idol contender and People's Choice Best New Artist nominee Lauren Spencer Smith about her skyrocketing career and the art of being a mess in our Prime Playlist Shuffle. But first, a major announcement from the company behind iconic food brands from Kool-Aid to ketchup to Cheese Whiz and Lunchables. When we return, stay with us. Prime Day is getting more days, while the NAACP is breaking with more than 100 years of tradition, and Shohei Ohtani back on the pitcher's mound. These stories and more in tonight's rundown. Amazon Prime Day is doubling in size. The company broke the news with the help of LeBron James.
Are the retirement rumors true? What's next?
Now shoppers will have 4 days to take advantage of major deals across nearly every category on Amazon. The news comes at a time of transition for the retailer. Today, CEO Andy Jassy sent a message to employees saying the company's workforce is expected to shrink over the next few years as Amazon expands its use of AI across its business. For the first time in its 116-year history, the NAACP will not invite the sitting presidents to its upcoming national convention. President and CEO Derek Johnson accused President Trump of attacking democracy and civil rights and announced that he and Vice President J.D. Vance would be excluded from the July convention in Charlotte, North Carolina. The organization and Trump have been entangled in multiple lawsuits, including recent clashes over changes to the Department of Education and voting regulations. Kraft Heinz says it's removing artificial food dyes from its products. The company said only 10% of its products still have food, drug, and cosmetic color additives, and they would be working to remove the colors entirely by the end of 2027. The announcement comes months after Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. unveiled a plan to phase out 8 synthetic food dyes in American foods. A federal jury in Colorado found that MyPillow founder Mike Lindell defamed a former employee for a voting equipment company after the 2020 presidential election. Lindell was ordered to pay $2.3 million in damages to Eric Coomer, the former security and product strategy director at Dominion Voting Systems, for making defamatory statements about him. Lindell, who's known to spread election conspiracy theories, said he would appeal the financial award. A celebrity cruise ship was captured on video getting separated from its dock during a strong storm in Alaska. The ship was seen swaying in the water from the strong winds and then breaking away from its mooring in Juneau and drifting away from the pier. The captain was reportedly able to bring the ship back to the dock and continue with the cruise.
And Ohtani kicks and throws, and off we go.
Baseball star Shohei Ohtani made his long-awaited return to the pitcher's mound Monday. The reigning National League MVP was a rare two-way star as a pitcher and hitter, pitched for the first time as a member of the Dodgers and since getting Tommy John surgery in 2023. Ohtani gave up 2 hits and a run in 1 inning against the Padres, then went on to drive in 2 runs as a hitter. The Dodgers won the game 6-3. Now to tonight's Prime Playlist Shuffle, where we sit down with artists who are transforming the music industry. Lauren Spencer Smith is entering a new era, embracing the chaos of writing an album as her career explodes. From a small town in Vancouver Island, she got her start as a teenager by posting videos of herself singing to social media in 2019. Since then, she took on the challenge of American Idol and was a Best New Artist nominee at the People's Choice Awards. Now her sophomore album, The Art of Being a Mess, drops on June 27th. Let's take a listen to her single, Pray.
Darling, I pray for you. Yeah, I pray for you. Wherever you go, I want you to know that I pray. Always have grace for you. I'll take the pain for you. Wherever you go, I want you to know that I pray.
What a voice. Lauren Spencer Smith joins us now. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So in your music, you really explore relationships, whether that's family, friends, a romantic relationship. How did you approach that in The Art of Being a Mess?
Yeah, honestly, in my songwriting process, I'm very just whatever is happening that day, whatever I'm upset about, angry about, whatever feelings I'm feeling, I bring to my songwriters and I bring to my producers. So it kind of just depended what was going on the day, is what I wrote.
You said in your first album, which was called Mirror, that you named it that because it really reflects your story in your music. How do you feel that your personal story is reflected now in album 2?
Yeah, honestly, I feel like my story is reflected even more because I didn't try to come up with a crazy concept and shove them all into one little box. I just kind of accepted that the story is up and down, and it's angry, and it's sad, and it's confusing, and I think that's the most relatable part of it.
And you are touring in Europe in the fall, then your North American tour, you're headlining starting in February of 2026. You're going to have New York, LA. What do you love most about performing?
Ooh, honestly, I think just hearing the lyrics sung back and seeing just the reaction that fans have to the music in person. Like when you write a song in the studio, you think you're the only person who's ever been through that emotional roller coaster or whatever you're writing about. So to see it connect with fans actually face to face is so magical.
What can fans expect?
Yeah, honestly, I think compared to last tour, they can actually expect some songs that have some oomph to it. Like there's drums and there's something to feel excited about rather than just sad. So I'm excited to kind of take everyone on a roller coaster.
And in that North American tour, you've also partnered with Plus One.
Yeah.
Explain what that's all about and why that was important to you.
Yeah, honestly, it's been really important to me for a long time to be able to do something like this. And I just feel like this is the perfect time to be raising awareness for all of the issues that we are, you know, even just homelessness, recovery, addiction. I think if I could help every single issue in the world, I would, but I'm very excited to be focusing on things that are very near and dear to my heart this year.
Of course, many people are going to remember that you shot to fame after singing Always Remember Us This Way from the movie A Star Is Born. How have you grown since that time?
Yeah, a part of me feels like I haven't grown at all, and I'm the same girl singing in the car, singing in my house. But honestly, I feel like I've just learned a lot about myself. Music means more to me, honestly, than I think it ever did. I've learned how to be a songwriter and how to express myself in so many different ways that I don't think I knew how to back then.
Lauren, we thank you so much for coming by. All the best to you. We want to let our viewers know The Art of Being a Mess is now available wherever you stream your music when it drops on June 27th. And that is our show for this hour. I'm Linsey Davis. Be sure to stay tuned to ABC News Live for more context and analysis of the day's top stories. Thanks so much for streaming with us.